On the Conscious Togetherness Summit, today my guest is Susan Gale. Hi, Susan. Thank you very much for coming back.
I thank you for having me.
My pleasure, darling, all the time. After our conversation the other day, I had the feeling of incomplete. There are few more questions I would like to ask you.
Okay.
Let us start with something you said the other day when you talked about narrow-mindedness. Actually, it was closed-mindedness as the basic obstacle of spiritual growth. Although we are born with the third eye open, society, upbringing, religions, and the fashionable mass consciousness close it up, and we go through life chasing the knowledge, the light, or something that is missing. The length and the quality of this journey depends on how wide our emotional or mental intelligence manage to open the door for receiving the new and venturing into the unknown. My first question is, how did you arrive at this point?
Wow. Well, I've been around for a long time, but I want to say I was born into a family that had many intuitive abilities, but nobody knew what it was. So we just did it. And we didn't, if I think if my family had known it was intuition, they would have freaked out and gone into a decline. We knew we couldn't give my mother any of her wrapped presents because she would know what was in them. So we couldn't let her touch them. But we didn't think about that as being anything special. We just knew, don't let mom touch the presents. And my dad could go to, when we went to the state fair, they had a big roulette wheel. And if you picked the number, you got a stuffed animal. And he would pick the number every time. And we would come away with armloads of stuff. My sister could talk to animals. She had a very close relationship with animals. My other sister could travel, astral projection, they call it now. And me, I just understood people that I had no business understanding. But it was just everyday life. Nobody thought it was anything special. And when I was around 21, I met somebody. Actually, it was the first guy I really was serious with. And he introduced me to Edgar Casey. And I felt like I had come home. It was so familiar to me. And what that did was give me language for what was happening in my family.
Yes.
So when I started using the language, my family didn't have anything to do with me anymore, because they didn't believe in that stuff. But it was just, so for 10 years, I did nothing but study those readings and try to live by them. I mean, I worked and I had a child and I did life stuff, but my main focus was on these readings. And I was a teacher. I taught in the public schools, and I eventually created my own school. And it turned out that most of the children in my own school were very intuitive as well. So, and that's why they couldn't cope in public school and did well in mine. Now, the work that I'm doing now at A Place of Light came about when I was a director of an early childhood program. And there was a little boy that they had said was autistic. And I would work with him to give the teacher, you know, some respite away from him so she could focus on the other children, because he seemed to operate either at full speed or sleeping. And he would do things like launch objects into the toilet or launch things at people's buildings and knock them down. So he was very difficult to manage. And I realized after a while working with him that he was telepathic because we were having conversations and I didn't even realize it, but we were having conversations about what we were doing. And I said, well, daggone, maybe he's not autistic at all. Maybe he just doesn't need to talk. So my younger son is telepathic at will. So I invited him in to talk to this 3-year-old boy. And it's a very long and complicated story, but what ended up happening was my son told him, thought to thought, that he had to become bilingual. As long as he didn't talk, people were going to have meetings about him and talk to him and test him and annoy him with all these things they've been doing. But if he would talk, they would stop. A month later, he had a speaking vocabulary of 28 words. And I thought, 5 minutes with this child, and he changed everything. How many people are we missing because we're looking at them through the wrong lens? I want to open a place where people can be seen through this lens, the lens of having intuitive abilities, and that having intuitive abilities is not a bad thing or a crazy thing. It's natural and normal. And so I opened up a place of light. That was 18 years ago that we opened, and have been working with people ever since. In fact, all I do now is work with people around intuition.
So, how many students have you had? Just about.
Ooh, I haven't even counted. I don't know, several hundred, I'm sure. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
So I don't know. Right now, currently, I have 12 students, some of whom have been with me up to 16 years. And they come every week and study, and then come in every week to study. And we keep starting, new classes. And we do retreats and we do workshops and things online. So I have no idea how many people I've reached.
Yeah, it's very exciting because my family background was very similar to yours in that aspect. Actually, everybody were intuitive in the family and everybody understood far more than so-called normal human being would, of course. And my third eye never closed, as I am sure yours has never closed, because usually around 5, 6, it closes up because of the, upbringing, religion, society, everything else. And also because the parents start yelling, oh, crazy, mental dysfunctions, my child is crazy, and whatever it is, And then, of course, all those gates close up and stop the flow of energy and the flow of knowledge as such. It's very interesting. What about your family?
Well,
I'm sorry. I mean your own family, and I'm not talking about your parents and your siblings. I'm talking about your husband, your children.
Yeah. Well, I never married, but my son, when I was carrying him, I did everything that the Casey reading said to do. And he was born very awake. And I remember he was maybe, well, when I first held him after he was born, and he looked at me and he thought to me, he said, where are the trees you've been telling me about? I don't see these trees anywhere. Oh boy, this one's going to hold me accountable. And so I never squashed his abilities. In fact, we went, always encouraged them. And his really his strong ability is in healing. And so he has been in the emergency services for about 28 years, and he's only lost 2 people in all that
Oh,
time. And he uses it all the time. He never talks about it.
of course, yeah.
He never tells anyone anything. But he has, and his children are that way too. And so they've been studying with me since they were very small. They'll come and spend the summers with me and learn all of this. So we have a very open um, approach to being this way. Now, my real family are the people that come here to the center. They're my
Sure.
family, and we all support each other in whatever. I mean, we're a very diverse group. About half of the people could come here are scientists, and then there's teachers and managers and waitresses and convenience store clerks, and there's all kinds of people that come here from all walks of life. But the one thing that we all share is that none of us care what anybody looks like or what they do. We just care about what's in their heart. And,
Yeah.
and so it's a very non-judgmental place here.
That's very interesting. Again, another similarity with my life, because I have a bunch of students been with me for 21 years. I was teaching them yesterday alchemy, the path of knowledge. I call this course the path of knowledge, alchemy, soul reading, and tarot reading. Can you imagine? I mean, they've been doing it for long, long, long time. And yes, we are like a family. We
Yeah.
do help each other. Although we go through quite a lot of soul searching, so we actually dig into each other very deep. So, sometimes we hurt each other in that way, but then again, we have to understand that it is for our own benefit.
Yes, it is. I mean, you have such a richer, more full life when you embrace your abilities.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. In fact, starting Wednesday, we decided we were all getting together and tell our story and create a documentary about this. And I'm very excited about that we can finally get this story out there.
Oh, wonderful.
How wonderful your life can be when you embrace your abilities and you're not
Yes,
afraid.
yes. It's actually very interesting how we usually talk about um, intuition as something being rewarded to certain people, but it is there for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has a soul, and that's what it is. It's the language of the soul. It's how soul perceives everything. I kind of chuckle when people say I've got to connect with my soul. No, you got to let you got to teach the body to accept soul. You are soul. You don't need to find yourself. That's who you are. But it's very body centric. Our language is very centered on the body being the starting point. And the body isn't the starting point. The body is just an expression of soul.
Um, yes, in one way or another, it is absolutely true. I think it is due to the new guard money in our society, because
Well,
obviously,
but
sorry,
I don't know how new that is, but go ahead.
I think it is sort of new. Eh, yeah, money has always been important, but I think during the last 100 years, and especially during the last 30 years, it became really, really, really important, because we are losing our securities in every way possible. And then there is not much to hang on to. So we want to hang on to the money. We think money can sort of buy us security. And of course, we pamper our body with the money. We cannot pamper our soul with the body, with the money, because it's not possible. Soul
No,
doesn't want money. And
yeah,
that's why
I've never
probably,
really given money much thought. It was there when I needed it, and I never had more than I needed. But I just don't really consider money too much um, in any of my work. So
yes, it is very interesting. I've been thinking about it too, that all my life, since I've been teaching and writing books and um, talking and giving lectures and God knows what, I've never made a lot of money. Always just enough to serve me. And
yeah,
people are looking at me. Why is it that you don't have more money? I mean, people in this, in your position would be millionaires. I said, yes, maybe, but not me. Somehow it just,
I mean, money can make things easier, but it also makes you have to wonder if the people who like you really like you or they like being around the money. It makes you get careless and wasteful when you have a lot of money. You
yes,
don't
that's
you don't
true.
have
That's
much
true.
respect for things when you have a lot of money in what I've seen. But I mean, it's great to have money. The person that I contacted who helped me start the center, I didn't know she had any money, but it turned out she had enough money to fund the whole thing. So, money was useful for that.
Yes,
But I didn't have to worry about me being the source of it. I just knew it was going to be there when it was needed, and it was.
yes, yes. Sometimes I think about it. If I had money, I would have a center. I could teach more people, because I would have a marketing manager and all that stuff.
Well, I
So,
live here at the center, so it's not like we have this separate building.
I see.
It's a three-story house, and I live on the top floor, and the bottom and middle floors are used for the work.
Excellent. Wow. Really nice. Really
I
nice.
just have to walk downstairs to go to work, so that's nice.
Yes, yes, yes. So what is happening in the center? Tell me how you start up in the morning or the time you start up. Uh, what is going on?
Well, it's really nice because I get to work at my own pace. I have a class either online or in person, Monday through Thursday, uh, in the evenings. And during the day, I either have clients that come in for one-on-one, or I work on. We're beginning to work on our retreat that we're having next year on understanding plants and energy and forgotten ways of healing, keeping your family healthy. And we're working on the retreat to have that for next year. We're working on this documentary, writing the script, and we'll start doing the filming on Wednesday. Uh, I have to maintain social media and the newsletter and the website and all those things. Those things take a lot of time too. So, but it's nice, I'm retired, so this is all a labor of love. I don't get paid for what I'm doing. I just do it because it's what I want to do with my life.
Oh,
Um,
it's what a wonderful choice.
yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful life, that's been created here for me. And I get to be with people who are open about being intuitive, so I don't have to worry about people who don't feel that way.
Sure. Um, is there any opening for beginners or whoever wants to join your center?
I we do I teach a class in person. I'm just don't find it works for me to teach intuitive things online because I'm so concerned with safety. And if they're all sitting around the table with me, I can know where they all are internally. And if they tend to drift off, I can bring them back. And I'm not so sure I could do that if they were scattered all over the world.
Yeah.
But we do have a course on a way of life that allows you to be intuitive, and that I do teach online, and that's open anytime. That's on our website, placeslight.net. Stand
So,
with Stand with Strength is what it's called,
uh,
and that course has everything in it that I know about a way to live your life so that you're peaceful and you're calm and you're open and you feel that incredible strength within yourself, so you trust yourself and you can rely on yourself, and you know you're your own best friend, that you won't let yourself down. Um, and we talk about 7 different strategies to do that. So that course is a lot of fun. But then I also have a book called Soulful Parenting, and that
uh,
has everything in it I know about children. And I've worked with children for over 40 years, so there's a lot of information in there, and it's based on the Casey readings and my experiences.
wonderful.
And then the Facebook page, I offer an exercise every week, again on that way of life. What are things that you consider? Things like, go a whole day without saying anything unkind about anybody or even thinking anything unkind, which these days is not easy to do. So there are exercises like that, and we go through those together and spend a whole week on each one. So that's other ways people can study with us.
Yes. How many of you in the center who are teaching?
Uh, there's just me that's teaching right now because everybody else has a full-time job, but there are 3 other people that help me run it.
Ah,
The
I
other
see.
people that help me, we call ourselves caretakers.
Good.
Take care of the center, and there's 3 other people that take care of the center. Nobody's in charge. We all have equal weight. We make our decisions together. When we disagree, we just keep talking until somebody finally comes around and says, okay, that's what we'll do. We meet once a month for a couple of hours and make all the decisions that have to be made for doing what we do. I don't do this alone, not at all. I just have
Wonderful.
the most time. I have the most time to devote because I'm retired and they all work full time.
Ah, I see. I see. Very exciting. And what do you do as a person? What do you do in your spare time?
I
It's difficult, I know, because you spend your time with.
yes, I watch TV and I rest right now. But back in the day, I would love to go for walks. I'd go for very long walks.
Mhm.
I would like to. I did bead work, you know,
Yeah,
the bracelets and the medallion kinds
yeah.
of work on the loom. I would do that. I would do. Uh, I'm not an artistic kind of person, but I do like to do craft things like macrame, those kinds of things that require no art ability, just dexterity.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds I like to. I like to work in the garden.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Building.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not much of a go out and about kind of person. I never have been. It's just
Uh-huh. That's all right. Well, thank you very much for all your answers. I wanted to ask you all these questions because I want people to understand how to open up towards abilities or towards spirituality as such, that, by the way, has nothing to do with religion. I just have to tell everybody because there is a big misunderstanding about the matter. And I just wanted to show them that it can be done.
Yep.
And
And
we
I'm
can
just
all,
an ordinary person, just like everybody else. I'm not anything special. I mean, there's a lot of my students can do way more than I can as far as intuitive things, but that doesn't make any difference.
yes, sure.
It's just a way of life. That's all it is. It's just a way of life of paying attention to the messages that the universe sends you.
Yes, definitely. Well, that's what I teach, um, that all people are equal, not the same, but equal.
Right. Everybody has equal value,
Yes,
equal worth.
yes. It's very hard to understand for many, but hopefully they will arrive to the understanding
Yes.
one day. Thank you very much, Susan, for the
I
conversation.
enjoyed this conversation.
Very gracious of you to come. And I just wish you well and have a wonderful time.
And your summit is going to be spectacular.
But of course, exceptional. See ya.